Hello there. Tonight, we'll step into a quiet, shadowed forest where ancient trees whisper secrets to a forgotten stream. Its waters so clear you can see the smooth, colorful stones resting on its bed. Before you settle in comfortably, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment below with your location and what time it is where you are. You'll see just how many others are awake with you tonight. You're not alone in the dark. Now dim the lights, climb into bed, pull the blanket up, release all tension, and let go of every thought. Just focus on tonight's journey. The air grew cooler with each step deeper into the woods, the scent of damp earth and pine needles growing stronger, more enveloping. I had been wandering for what felt like hours, drawn by a pull I couldn't quite name, a subtle hum just beneath the threshold of hearing. The path, if one could even call it that, had long since faded, replaced by a carpet of emerald moss and fallen leaves. Overhead, the canopy of ancient oaks and towering pines knitted together, allowing only dappled patches of moonlight to filter through, turning the forest floor into a mosaic of silver and shadow. It was a place where time seemed to slow, where the modern world felt impossibly far away, a mere whisper on the wind. Then I heard it, a soft, persistent murmuring, unlike the rustle of leaves or the hoot of a distant owl. It was the sound of water, not crashing or rushing, but flowing with an almost melodic rhythm. Curiosity, a gentle, unhurried curiosity, guided my steps. I pushed aside a curtain of tangled ferns, their fronds cool against my skin, and there it was, a stream, unlike any I had ever encountered. It wasn't wide, perhaps no more than a few feet across, but its water possessed an extraordinary clarity. I could see every pebble, every grain of sand on its bottom, even in the dim light. The water seemed to glow with an inner luminescence, a soft, ethereal light that pulsed faintly with the current. This wasn't just a stream. It felt like a vein of liquid silver, flowing through the very heart of the quiet earth. The banks were lined with smooth, water-worn stones, covered in a velvet-like moss that seemed to absorb all sound. The air around the stream was still, unnaturally still, as if holding its breath. There was no wind to stir the leaves, no insects buzzing, only the soft, consistent murmur of the water. It was a sound that didn't just fill the air, it filled the space within me, settling into the quiet corners of my mind. A sense of profound peace began to unfurl within my chest, a sensation of lightness replacing the subtle weariness of my long journey. My shoulders, which I hadn't realized were tense, relaxed, and a gentle sigh escaped my lips. I knelt by the bank, letting my fingers brush the surface of the water. It was cool, but not cold, refreshing and incredibly soft, like silk. The current was gentle, carrying fallen petals from some unseen late-blooming flower in slow, graceful circles. As I watched, mesmerized, I noticed that the soft lights I had seen from a distance were not reflections of the moon. They emanated from within the water itself, tiny, shimmering motes of light that danced and swirled, rising from the streambed and dissolving into the gentle current. They were like tiny living stars drifting through a liquid sky. My mind felt clearer than it had in days, perhaps even weeks. The usual worries, the endless mental to-do lists, the small anxieties that often buzzed at the edges of my consciousness, all of them seemed to recede, pulled away by the gentle, persistent flow of the stream. This was a place of profound stillness, a pocket of serenity tucked away from the clamor of the world. The air smelled of clean water and deep earth, a scent that was both grounding and subtly uplifting. I felt an inexplicable sense of belonging, as if this stream, this hidden glade, had been waiting for me. There was no urgency to move, no desire to explore further. All I wanted was to simply exist in this moment, to breathe in the quietude, and to let the soft murmur of the water wash over me. It was more than just a sound. It was a presence, a gentle invitation to simply be.
The soft, ethereal light emanating from the stream was not static. It pulsed and wavered, a gentle breath of luminescence beneath the surface. As I watched, mesmerized, I noticed that these were not random flickers, but rather delicate, swirling patterns, like tiny, submerged galaxies. They seemed to gather and disperse, forming fleeting shapes that hinted at something more than mere light. Sometimes they would coalesce into a faint, almost transparent outline of a fish, only to dissolve and reform into a spiral. At other moments, they resembled shimmering leaves drifting slowly downwards, or perhaps even tiny, outstretched hands beckoning me closer. Each flicker was a whisper, a silent invitation. I leaned closer, my breath barely disturbing the calm surface of the water. The air about the stream felt strangely vibrant, almost tingling, as if charged with an unseen energy. It wasn't a jarring sensation, but a soothing one, like a gentle caress. The scent of clean water became more pronounced, tinged now with a subtle sweetness, a hint of something floral and ancient. It was a fragrance that evoked old memories I couldn't quite pinpoint, feelings of peace and contentment from a time long past. The world beyond the stream, the dark, silent forest, seemed to recede entirely, becoming a blurred backdrop to this singular, luminous spectacle. I followed the path of one particularly bright flicker as it drifted languidly downstream. It seemed to expand slightly as it moved, radiating a soft, pale blue light that painted the smooth stones on the riverbed in transient shades. The clarity of the water was astonishing. It was as if looking through perfectly polished glass. I could see intricate patterns on the pebbles, tiny clusters of moss clinging to submerged rocks, and delicate strands of aquatic plants swaying gently with the barely perceptible current. Everything beneath the surface was rendered with exquisite detail, illuminated by the otherworldly glow. The light wasn't just beautiful, it was captivating, drawing my gaze deeper and deeper into the water. I found myself instinctively reaching out, my fingertips hovering just above the surface, not daring to break the spell. The light seemed to respond, a particularly bright cluster of motes drifting directly beneath my hand, pulsing with a slightly increased intensity. It felt like a subtle acknowledgement, a silent communication from the hidden depths. A profound sense of serenity settled over me, A peace so complete it felt almost sacred. All the small nagging worries that usually clung to the edges of my mind had completely vanished, replaced by a quiet sense of wonder. I noticed that the closer I focused on the lights, the more distinct they became, not just in their form, but in their subtle variations of color. Some were pure, crystalline white, like miniature stars. Others glowed with a soft, warm amber, reminiscent of distant candlelight. There were hints of pale green, like nascent emeralds, and even delicate shades of violet, like twilight clouds reflected on a still pond. Each color seemed to carry a unique resonance, contributing to the overall gentle harmony of the stream. It was a silent symphony of light, performed for an audience of one in the hushed embrace of the ancient woods. The murmuring of the stream, which had drawn me here, now seemed to intertwine with the visual spectacle. It wasn't just the sound of flowing water anymore. If I listened closely, I could discern subtle variations within the murmur, almost like distinct notes in a melody. There was a deeper, resonant hum beneath the surface, a low vibration that seemed to emanate from the very earth itself, rising through the water. And woven into this, a higher, lighter sound, like tiny chimes or bells, delicate and fleeting. It was a complex, layered sound, but infinitely soothing, designed, it seemed, to calm every nerve and soothe every thought. I found myself breathing more slowly, more deeply, in time with the gentle rhythm of the stream's flow. My muscles, which I hadn't realized were taut, began to loosen, unraveling like a tightly wound spool of thread. A soft warmth spread through my chest, radiating outwards, dissolving any lingering tension. This place, this stream, was an anomaly, a sanctuary. It felt ancient and wise, holding secrets that transcended ordinary understanding. The flickering lights, the melodic murmur, the palpable sense of peace, they all combined to create an atmosphere of profound tranquility, an invitation to simply let go. My eyelids grew heavier, not with sleepiness born of fatigue, but with the luxurious weight of utter contentment. The glow from the stream seemed to soften the edges of the world, blurring the distinction between seeing and dreaming. I felt myself sinking into the moment, completely enveloped by the quiet magic of the hidden waters, drawn deeper into their luminous, calming embrace. The presence of the ancient willow tree beside the stream was undeniable, a silent sentinel that seemed to hum with the same subtle energy as the water itself. Its enormous trunk, gnarled and twisted by centuries, was wider than any I had ever seen, its bark a tapestry of deep furrows and velvety moss. Countless branches, thick as lesser trees, stretched outward, their weeping boughs cascading downwards like a living curtain, many of them dipping directly into the shimmering current of the stream. It was as if the tree was drinking from the luminous water, drawing sustenance from its gentle magic. As I observed it, a subtle shift occurred in the light. The soft, internal glow of the stream seemed to intensify slightly around the willow's submerged branches, creating a halo of pale light beneath the water's surface where they met. It wasn't a bright, jarring light, but a tender, pulsing luminescence, like the slow beat of a hidden heart. The air around the willow felt even more serene, more hushed, as if the very act of its being there enforced a deeper quietude upon the surrounding forest. There was an ancient wisdom emanating from it, a silent invitation that transcended words. A few of the lowest branches, heavy with countless slender leaves, swayed just inches above the water, their tips occasionally brushing the surface, creating barely perceptible ripples that expanded outwards in perfect concentric circles. Each touch seemed to release a faint, sweet scent into the air, a delicate aroma of damp wood and something subtly herbal like chamomile or lavender. It was a fragrance designed to soothe, to calm, to gently draw one deeper into a state of blissful repose. My earlier weariness, which had been subtle, was now completely gone, replaced by a profound sense of ease. I found myself drawn towards the willow, not by any conscious decision, but by an almost magnetic pull. Its presence was not imposing, but inviting, a massive, ancient being offering solace. I noticed a small, naturally formed alcove nestled within the tangle of its roots, a sheltered hollow cushioned with the softest, thickest moss. It looked like a perfect place to rest, to simply lie down and let the gentle currents of peace wash over me. The very idea of settling into that spot felt utterly right, an instinctive urge that bypassed all logical thought. As I approached, the gentle murmur of the stream seemed to grow slightly more distinct, weaving itself into a soft, continuous drone that vibrated softly in the air. It wasn't loud, but pervasive, a gentle hum that seemed to resonate deep within my bones. The flickering lights in the water appeared to dance with a little more zest directly in front of the willow, almost as if celebrating its ancient presence. They twirled and spun, forming fleeting, intricate patterns that suggested hidden life, secret movements beneath the translucent surface. The leaves of the willow, a myriad shades of green, rustled with a sound so faint it was almost imperceptible, like the softest whisper. It was a sound that didn't break the silence, but rather deepened it, adding another layer to the symphony of quietude. I could feel a subtle warmth radiating from the ancient trunk, a comforting heat that spoke of enduring life and profound connection to the earth. It was a warmth that invited closeness, a gentle embrace from the living spirit of the forest. I sank down onto the mossy cushion within the willow's roots, letting out a soft sigh as my body settled into the incredibly soft embrace of the earth. The moss was cool and yielding, conforming perfectly to the contours of my back and head. Overhead, the willow's branches formed a natural canopy, creating a private sanctuary, a haven from the outside world. Through the gaps in the leaves, I could still see the soft glow of the stream, its subtle light painting the undersides of the branches in pale, shifting hues. With my head resting against a smooth, moss-covered root, I closed my eyes for a moment, letting the gentle murmur of the stream and the quiet presence of the willow envelop me. My thoughts, which had been so active just moments before, began to unravel, dissolving like wisps of mist in the morning sun. There was nothing to do, nowhere to be, no problems to solve, only the soft, rhythmic sound of the water, the gentle glow filtering through my eyelids, and the deep, pervasive sense of peace. It was as if the ancient willow and the luminous stream were working in concert, gently coaxing me into a state of profound relaxation. The air felt thick with tranquility, a tangible presence that pressed gently against me, urging me to let go, to surrender to the unfolding calm. I felt myself drifting, carried on a current of absolute serenity, deeper into the heart of this hidden, magical place.
A faint melody, almost imperceptible, began to emerge from the gentle murmur of the stream, weaving itself into the quiet hum of the ancient willow. It wasn't a distinct tune with a clear beginning or end, but more like a series of elongated, resonant notes blending seamlessly with the flowing water. It was the kind of sound that didn't demand attention, but rather invited one to listen more closely, to let it simply exist in the background, subtly influencing the atmosphere. This melody wasn't heard with my ears alone. It resonated deeper, within the very core of my being, a vibration of pure, undisturbed peace. As the melody unfolded, rising and falling with an exquisite gentleness, the air around me seemed to grow softer, thicker with tranquility. It felt as though every molecule in the atmosphere was infused with this soothing sound. The faint internal lights of the stream appeared to dance in time with the music, flickering with a slightly more deliberate rhythm, their pale hues deepening and softening in harmony with the notes. A soft golden glow seemed to emanate from the water, painting the underside of the willow's weeping branches with a warm, comforting light. The melody was without instrumentation, without a clear source, yet it was undeniably there. It was pure sound, distilled essence of calm. Sometimes it felt like the deep, sustained note of a cello resonating through the earth. At other times it was the delicate chime of a distant bell, lingering in the air before fading into silence. Then it would shift again, becoming a long, drawn-out chord, harmonious and rich, a sound that seemed to stretch out indefinitely, filling all space. It was a lullaby woven from the elements themselves, water, earth, and the ancient spirit of the willow. My breath had grown shallow and even, almost imperceptible. My mind, usually a bustling thoroughfare of thoughts, had become a quiet, empty room, save for the gentle echo of the melody. All the day's worries, the lingering stresses, the endless mental chatter that often kept me restless had completely dissolved. They simply ceased to exist, replaced by an overwhelming sense of contentment. It was as if the melody acted as a gentle current, washing away everything but the present moment, a moment of profound, unburdened peace. The moss beneath me felt softer now, molding itself perfectly to my form, cradling me with an almost sentient comfort. The gentle warmth radiating from the willow tree became more pronounced, a soft, enveloping heat that seeped into my limbs, loosening every muscle, melting away any last vestiges of tension. I felt myself sinking deeper into the earth, into the quiet embrace of this hidden sanctuary. The sensation was akin to floating on a still, warm lake, completely supported, completely safe. The melody continued its soft, persistent play, becoming less an external sound and more an internal experience.
It felt as though it was being played within me, its gentle vibrations resonating through every cell of my body, harmonizing with my own natural rhythms. My heartbeat slowed, becoming a steady, gentle throb that pulsed in time with the stream's flow. My breathing grew deeper, more expansive, yet utterly effortless. It was a feeling of complete alignment, of being utterly at peace with myself and with the world. My eyelids, which had already been heavy, now felt impossibly so, their weight a luxurious invitation to surrender. The world outside the willow's embrace, the dim forest, the faint starlight, began to blur, to recede into a soft, indistinct haze. Only the melody remained, a golden thread weaving through the tapestry of my dissolving awareness. It was pulling me, gently, irresistibly, towards a deeper state of repose. There was no resistance, no fear, only an absolute willingness to follow where this ethereal sound led. I felt a subtle shift, a lightness, as if my consciousness was detaching itself from the physical world, rising slightly, yet remaining tethered by the soothing sound. The stream's light, still visible through the slight crack of my eyelids, softened further, becoming an indistinct, comforting glow that was more felt than seen. The scent of clean water and ancient wood deepened, becoming almost intoxicatingly peaceful. Everything was conspiring to lull me, to guide me into a profound and restful state. The melody was the key, the gentle, persistent pull into the depths of timeless slumber. I was drifting, softly, irrevocably, into the quiet embrace of unconsciousness, carried on the wings of an ancient, soothing song.
The irresistible drowsiness that had been gently building now reached its peak, a luxurious wave washing over me, pulling me deeper into its calming embrace. It wasn't the heavy, fought-against exhaustion of a difficult day, but a soft, tender surrender, like sinking into a cloud. The mossy hollow beneath the ancient willow became the most comfortable bed imaginable, conforming perfectly to every curve of my body, cradling me with a gentle firmness. Each breath felt lighter, deeper, as if the very air I inhaled was infused with serenity. As I felt myself sinking, the faint melody from the stream seemed to grow even softer, becoming an almost subliminal hum, a vibration rather than a distinct sound. It moved from my ears to my very core, resonating through my bones, calming every nerve ending. The flickering lights in the stream, though unseen through closed eyelids, felt present, their gentle luminescence a soft warmth against the darkness behind my eyes. They were like distant, gentle stars, winking softly as I drifted away. My limbs felt incredibly heavy, yet pleasantly so, rooted to the earth, yet simultaneously weightless. It was a paradox that brought only comfort. My thoughts, which had already quieted considerably, now dispersed entirely, like smoke vanishing into a vast, empty sky. There was no more analyzing, no more planning, no more remembering, just pure, unadulterated sensation. The softness of the moss, the gentle warmth from the willow, the subtle coolness of the night air, and the omnipresent, soothing presence of the stream. I felt a subtle shift in my perception of gravity.
It was as if I was no longer simply lying on the ground, but gently suspended, floating just above the moss. This sensation was incredibly liberating, erasing any last vestiges of physical tension. My body felt profoundly relaxed, every muscle slack and at ease, as if melting into the earth. A deep, cleansing sigh escaped my lips, a final release of any lingering unease, and then my breathing settled into a slow, rhythmic whisper. The soft murmur of the stream that drew me into this hidden glade now seemed to transform into the rhythmic hush of ocean waves, far off and gentle, pulling back and forth on a sandy shore. Each soft whoosh and retreat of the water deepened my sense of calm, mimicking the natural rhythm of deep sleep. It was a primal sound, comforting and ancient, whispering promises of profound rest. I felt as though I was being carried further and further out into a tranquil sea of consciousness, adrift on currents of peace. My mind, now entirely free of active thought, became a vast, dark expanse. Yet it was not an empty darkness. It was a welcoming, deep blue darkness, like the calm surface of a deep lake under a moonless sky. Within this gentle void, subtle patterns of light began to emerge. Not the sharp, distinct light of waking, but soft, diffuse glows that bloomed and faded, like bioluminescent plankton far below the surface of the sea. They were shapeless, ephemeral, and incredibly soothing, drawing me deeper into the dream world. A profound sense of safety enveloped me. In this hidden place, nestled within the roots of the ancient willow, with the stream as my lullaby and its lights as my distant guides, there was nothing to fear, nothing to disturb my descent into slumber. I was utterly protected, cradled by the natural world. The gentle pull towards unconsciousness was no longer a push or a force, but an effortless drift, a graceful transition from wakefulness to the realms of dreams. The last sensation I registered before succumbing completely was the feeling of being softly surrounded, as if the air itself had become a warm, breathable blanket. It was a sensation of utter completeness, of being perfectly in tune with the quiet energy of the forest. The world of wakefulness dissolved, receding into a distant hum, and I surrendered fully to the sweet, deep embrace of sleep, carried away by the gentle magic of the stream and the ancient wisdom of the willow. As sleep deepened, a gentle mist began to unfurl from the stream. Not a cold, damp fog, but a shimmering, almost luminous haze that seemed to rise silently from the water. It was a veil woven from moonlight and the stream's own ethereal light, soft and translucent, gradually enveloping me where I lay nestled in the willow's embrace. This was a mist that didn't obscure vision, but rather softened the edges of reality, making the boundary between wakefulness and dreaming exquisitely porous. The air, already imbued with the scents of damp earth and ancient wood, now carried a subtle, almost imperceptible fragrance of wet stones and cool starlight. It was a clean, refreshing aroma, yet deeply grounding, a scent that suggested profound depth and quiet wisdom. The mist itself felt cool against my skin, a tender caress that sent shivers of contentment through my limbs rather than chills. It was as though the stream itself was reaching out, wrapping me in its gentle embrace. Within this shimmering veil, the soft internal lights of the water seemed to detach from the stream's surface, rising with the mist, becoming floating orbs of pale luminescence. They drifted slowly around me, like miniature fireflies in a dream, their gentle glow illuminating the inside of my eyelids with a soft, shifting tapestry of light. Sometimes they were pure white, like pearls. Other times a delicate, almost translucent blue, like distant galaxies. They pulsed with a gentle rhythm, a silent, visual heartbeat that resonated with my own slowing pulse. This was the sound of ultimate quietude, of the world holding its breath. My body felt incredibly light, almost ethereal, as if it were dissolving into the softness of the mist. I no longer felt the distinct boundaries of my physical form. Instead, I was becoming one with the gentle undulation of the air, the cool caress of the mist. This wasn't a sensation of loss or disorientation, but one of profound liberation, a release from the constraints of the physical world. I was pure awareness, floating in a sea of gentle light and sound. The willow's presence, though no longer directly seen, was strongly felt. Its ancient roots, once a comforting bed, now seemed to merge with my own being, grounding me even as my consciousness seemed to expand. The deep, nurturing energy of the tree flowed into me, a silent promise of safety and enduring strength. I was held, utterly secure within the heart of this ancient, magical place, cradled by forces far older and wiser than myself. As the veil of mist thickened, it seemed to carry me effortlessly, lifting me gently from the mossy ground. I wasn't falling or rising, but simply suspended, adrift in a luminous, serene void. The soft, luminous orbs of light continued their silent dance, forming intricate, fleeting patterns that hinted at hidden messages, ancient stories woven in pure light. They were guides, silently leading me deeper into the realms of timeless dreams. A profound sense of surrender washed over me, a willing release of control. There was no need to resist, no desire to cling to the fading echoes of wakefulness. The mist was not just a physical phenomenon, it was a conduit, a gentle passageway into another state of being. It felt like being wrapped in 1,000 soft blankets, each one dissolving further as I drifted deeper into the luminous haze. The last vestiges of the conscious world dissolved, and I felt myself slipping entirely into the shimmering, dream-weaving veil, completely at peace, completely unburdened. The soft, gentle pull was irresistible, and I let go entirely, surrendering to the profound peace that awaited me beyond the threshold of ordinary sleep.
The first dream unfolded not as a chaotic jumble of daily events or anxieties, but as a vivid, sensation-rich memory that felt profoundly familiar, yet utterly forgotten.
It was a memory bathed in a soft, golden light, suffused with an overwhelming sense of peace and contentment. I wasn't an active participant in the memory. Rather, I was an observer, floating gently just outside its frame, absorbing every detail, every nuanced feeling. It was like watching a beautifully crafted, silent film of pure tranquility. The scene was a sun-drenched meadow, vast and rolling, dotted with countless wildflowers in hues of lavender, soft yellow, and delicate pink. The air in the dream was warm and smelled of honey and fresh clover, a scent that evoked a deep, primal sense of well-being. A gentle breeze, felt distinctly on my dream self, stirred the tall grasses, making them ripple like waves on a green ocean. In the distance, the faint, shimmering outline of ancient, softly rounded hills rose against a sky of endless, serene blue. There was a profound sense of timelessness to the meadow. No buildings, no signs of human intervention, just the quiet perfection of nature. A single ancient oak tree stood majestically in the center, its sprawling branches providing a cool, inviting shade. Underneath it, a small, clear stream burbled softly, its sound a miniature echo of the stream that had lulled me into this slumber. The water in this dream stream was even more impossibly clear, revealing smooth, colorful stones that seemed to glow with their own inner light. I observed a small, almost translucent deer grazing peacefully in the meadow, its movements slow and deliberate, utterly without fear. Its coat seemed to shimmer with the same soft, internal light as the stones in the stream, reflecting the gentle glow of the dream itself. As it lowered its head to nibble on a patch of sweet grass, a sense of profound gentleness enveloped me, a feeling of harmony with all living things. There was no sound beyond the rustle of the grass, the soft gurgle of the stream, and the faint, almost melodic hum of unseen insects. The light in the dream was exquisite, soft and diffused, as if filtered through a silken curtain. It bathed everything in a warm, comforting glow, highlighting the vibrant colors of the wildflowers and the rich greens of the grass. Shadows were long and gentle, offering cool respite without any hint of gloom. It was the kind of light that suggested endless, perfect afternoons, untouched by the passage of time. As I absorbed this tranquil scene, a feeling of deep joy, completely pure and untainted, welled up within me. It wasn't an excited joy, but a quiet, profound happiness born of absolute contentment. It was the joy of simply existing in a place of perfect peace, a joy that resonated deep within my very essence. This wasn't a memory from my waking life, yet it felt intimately mine, a forgotten corner of my soul now illuminated. There was no narrative, no plot, no unfolding events in this dream. It was simply a state of being, a prolonged moment of idyllic serenity. I lingered there, allowing the warmth of the dream sun to permeate my dream self, feeling the gentle breeze on my dream skin, inhaling the sweet, clean scents. Every detail contributed to an overwhelming sense of peace. The colors were richer, the sounds softer, the feelings deeper than anything experienced in wakefulness. This dream was a gentle invitation, a silent promise that within this slumber only peace would reside. It washed away any lingering vestiges of the day, cleansing my inner landscape and preparing it for deeper, more profound rest. The forgotten memory felt like a foundational layer of peace, reminding me of an inherent capacity for serenity that often gets overshadowed by the demands of life. It was a beautiful, unburdened beginning to a journey into timeless dreams, a silent reassurance that this night would bring only profound and undisturbed slumber. I drifted deeper into this perfect meadow, letting its tranquility seep into every part of my dream being. As the dream of the tranquil meadow began to softly fade, not dissolving abruptly, but slowly, like colors diffusing in water, a new sensation emerged, distinct and profound. The feeling of being gently held by the water itself. It wasn't the wetness or chill of a physical stream, but a fluid, supportive embrace, as if I were suspended weightlessly within a vast, warm, liquid expanse. This sensation was exquisitely soothing, erasing any sense of gravity or pressure, replacing it with an unparalleled sense of buoyancy and ease. It felt as though I was floating within the very essence of the stream that had lulled me to sleep, yet without any actual contact with water. It was a purely sensory experience, a profound feeling of being cradled by something ancient and nurturing. This sensation was akin to being in the womb, utterly safe, completely protected, and perfectly at peace. There was no up or down, no distinct direction, just a gentle rhythmic swaying, like a leaf drifting on an invisible warm current. Within this liquid embrace, the soft internal lights that had pulsed in the physical stream now surrounded me, no longer just distant flickers, but close, intimately present glows. They moved with me, in harmony with the gentle sway, creating shifting patterns of soft luminescence. These were not external lights. They felt like extensions of the embracing water, shimmering particles of pure, concentrated calm. They painted the dream darkness around me with soft, transient hues of deep indigo, luminous silver, and ethereal emerald, creating a breathtaking, silent display. The melodic hum that had accompanied my descent into sleep now permeated this watery world. It was deeper here, more resonant, a continuous, unwavering note that calmed every phantom ripple of thought. It was the sound of timelessness, the sound of being utterly at rest within the grand flow of existence. This sound wasn't heard with ears, but felt with every fiber of my being, soothing, reassuring, endlessly comforting. My dream self felt incredibly expansive, unconstrained by any physical form. I was pure awareness immersed in this benevolent liquid. There was no sense of being confined, but rather an experience of infinite space, of stretching out boundlessly within this comforting element. Any lingering sense of being an individual gave way to a profound feeling of interconnectedness, of being part of something vast and ancient, a singular drop within a boundless ocean of peace. The sensation of the water's embrace was one of absolute support. There was no effort required, no need to hold myself up. I was perfectly sustained, effortlessly buoyant. This complete lack of physical demand translated into an extraordinary mental liberation. All notions of responsibility, of tasks undone, of future worries simply dissolved. They couldn't exist in this timeless, weightless realm. My mind was as clear and serene as the water that held me. Occasionally, soft amorphous shapes would drift past in the luminous depths, not threatening or defined, but like gentle currents of color, or perhaps the fleeting outlines of benevolent presences. They contributed to the overall sense of wonder and safety, hints of other dream beings sharing this peaceful expanse. Each interaction, though unspoken, was one of pure, unadulterated tranquility, a quiet acknowledgement of shared serenity. This profound embrace of the water was more than just a feeling. It was a deep, intuitive understanding of absolute safety and belonging. It whispered promises of endless rest, of complete restoration. The gentle currents carried me deeper, not into darkness, but into a luminous calm, a central chamber of profound peace. I felt myself settling, truly settling, into the very heart of timeless slumber, utterly protected and nourished by the ancient, flowing essence of the river. It was a sensation of finally coming home, to a place of perfect peace and unburdened existence, cradled by the very source of dreams.
As the sensation of the river's gentle embrace deepened, the dreams began to shift, evolving beyond simple memories into something more expansive, more universal. They offered glimpses not just of forgotten moments, but of serene, tranquil scenes from lives unknown, echoes of peace from countless others. I was no longer an observer of a single memory, but a silent traveler through a vast, shimmering tapestry of shared human tranquility, experiencing fragments of serene existence. One moment, I was floating above a quiet, moonlit garden, where ancient stone paths wound through fragrant lavender bushes. The air in this dream smelled of cool night blossoms and damp earth, a scent of profound stillness. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves of unseen trees, creating a soft, rhythmic whisper that resonated with the river's hum. There was no one in the garden, yet it felt imbued with a deep sense of peace, as if countless moments of quiet contemplation had soaked into its very soil. The moon, a perfect luminous orb, cast long, soft shadows, turning the garden into a masterpiece of silver and charcoal. Then the scene would subtly dissolve, reforming into another. I found myself drifting through a sun-dappled forest, not unlike the one that housed the stream, yet distinctly different. Here, the sunlight filtered through a dense canopy in shifting patterns of gold and emerald. The ground was covered in a soft, springy moss, cushioned by centuries of fallen leaves. The only sound was the distant call of an unknown, melodious bird, its notes sweet and clear, echoing through the quietude. I felt the comforting warmth of the dream sun on my skin, a sensation of profound natural harmony. Another shift, and I was on a calm, crystal-clear lake, nestled amongst softly rounded mountains, whose peaks kissed the clouds.
The water was so still it perfectly mirrored the expansive blue sky and the fluffy, unmoving clouds, creating an illusion of infinite depth both above and below. A small wooden rowboat, perfectly still at the center, hinted at a moment of serene solitude, of profound introspection. The silence was absolute, unbroken save for the gentle lapping of invisible waves against an unseen shore, a sound so soft it was almost a feeling. These dreams were not about individuals or specific events that defined a life. They were about the moments of peace, the universal experiences of tranquility that resonate across all beings. A hand tracing patterns in sand on a deserted beach, feeling the cool grains slip between fingers. A child's quiet breath as they sleep deeply in a safe, warm bed. The soft glow of a single candle in a dark, silent room, casting dancing shadows on a wall. The quiet satisfaction of completing a simple, repetitive task, like weaving thread or shaping clay, with complete focus and calm. Each glimpse was accompanied by the river's unwavering embrace, the sense of being held and supported within the liquid quietude. The soft internal lights pulsed rhythmically, seeming to highlight each new scene, drawing my awareness to its most peaceful aspects. They were guiding me, silently, through this museum of tranquility, showcasing the countless ways peace manifests in existence. There was no sense of invasion or intrusion into these unknown lives. Instead, it was an experience of shared humanity, a deep understanding that beneath the surface of all struggles and complexities, there exists a fundamental capacity for profound serenity. It was a comforting realization, a testament to the enduring presence of peace in the world, even if often overshadowed. As each glimpse softly faded, the profound sense of calm remained, deepening with every new glimpse. My dream self felt increasingly unburdened, cleansed by these pure moments of serenity. The river spirits, though unseen, were clearly the weavers of this tapestry, gently presenting these echoes of peaceful lives, nurturing my own capacity for deep restorative rest. I was drifting effortlessly through a boundless ocean of universal calm, my spirit absorbing the essence of pure tranquility from every peaceful echo.
Within the gentle, liquid embrace of the dream, a subtle shift occurred. The previously amorphous shapes and fleeting glimpses of other lives began to coalesce, and I became aware of a presence, not a physical form, not a voice, but a distinct, palpable energy, a soothing, guiding essence that permeated the watery expanse around me. This was the river spirit, a silent, benevolent companion in the timeless dream. The presence was not overwhelming or intrusive. Rather, it was incredibly soft, like a gentle breath of air across still water. It felt ancient, immensely wise, yet possessed an infinite gentleness. There was no need for communication through words. Understanding flowed effortlessly, an intuitive knowing that transcended language. This spirit was a weaver of dreams, a guardian of peace, and its touch was exquisitely tender.
As this presence became clearer, the soft internal lights that surrounded me seemed to respond, pulsing with a more deliberate rhythm, their hues deepening into richer, more comforting shades of sapphire and amethyst. They danced closer, forming delicate, intricate patterns around my dream self, like shimmering tendrils of pure energy. It was as if the lights were the visible manifestation of the Spirit's soft touch, its ethereal fingers tracing patterns of peace in the dreamscape. I felt a subtle, almost imperceptible current guiding me, not pushing, but gently coaxing. It was a movement deeper into the heart of the dream, a journey into even profounder states of rest. This guidance was entirely benevolent, entirely for my benefit, a silent promise of deeper healing and restoration. There was no resistance within me, only a profound willingness to follow where this gentle presence led. A warmth, not of heat, but of pure, unconditional comfort emanated from the Spirit. It was a warmth that seeped into every part of my dream being, dissolving any lingering echoes of chill or unease that might have been hidden in the furthest corners of my consciousness. It was a balm for the soul, a quiet affirmation of safety and belonging. In its presence, I felt utterly secure, utterly at peace. The melodic hum of the river, which had become an integral part of the dream, now seemed to become a direct emanation of the Spirit itself. It was a sound woven from pure tranquility, a continuous, unwavering note that resonated through me, silencing any remaining mental static. This was the purest form of lullaby, sung by the very essence of peace, for the sole purpose of guiding me deeper into restorative slumber. Occasionally, the fleeting visions of tranquil moments from other lives would reappear, but now they felt infused with the Spirit's gentle touch. A scene of quiet meditation in a sunlit forest would be deepened by a palpable sense of shared inner peace. A glimpse of a serene, sleeping child would be imbued with even greater sense of protective love. The Spirit was highlighting the fundamental unity of peace across all existence, a silent teaching woven into the fabric of the dream. There was a profound sense of being understood, of being seen in my entirety, yet without judgment. The Spirit's presence conveyed an ancient empathy, a knowing of the quiet struggles of the waking world, and an offering of complete release from them within this dream. It was a presence that invited complete surrender, a letting go of all burdens, knowing that in this space only peace would reside. This silent guiding energy was like a soft anchor in the boundless ocean of the dream, holding me steady as I drifted deeper into its depths. It was the key to truly timeless dreams, a benevolent force that orchestrated the gentle unfolding of restorative peace. I felt myself settling further, completely enveloped by the Spirit's soothing essence, drifting effortlessly into a state of profound, unburdened serenity, ready for whatever deeper tranquility the river had to offer.
The river spirit's gentle presence began to actively, yet subtly, coax away anxieties that had nestled deep within my waking mind.
It wasn't a forceful extraction, but a delicate unweaving, like disentangling fine threads from a larger tapestry. I felt a profound sense of release as each worry, each small knot of tension was met by the Spirit's soothing energy and dissolved into the luminous calm of the dream. The process unfolded as a series of gentle currents within the watery expanse that cradled me. Each current seemed to carry away a specific weight. First, it was the pervasive sense of hurriedness, the constant feeling of needing to be elsewhere, to do something more. This melted away, replaced by an expansive sense of boundless time, where moments stretched into eternity, unburdened by clocks or schedules. The soft internal lights around me shimmered, their gentle glow seeming to absorb the fading tension. Next, a subtle undercurrent of self-doubt, a quiet hum of inadequacy that often lingered, was met by the Spirit's unwavering acceptance. It simply flowed over and through this feeling, washing it away with an effortless grace. In its place, a feeling of innate worth, of quiet confidence bloomed within my dream self. The melodic hum of the river deepened, becoming a resonant note of affirmation, a silent declaration of inherent peace. The anxieties concerning the future, the what-ifs, and the planning for events yet to unfold were then addressed. The Spirit's touch was like a gentle hand smoothing out wrinkled fabric. These future worries were replaced by a profound sense of presence, an absolute immersion in the now. The beauty of the dream present was so complete that the future held no sway. Only this moment of perfect calm truly existed. The surrounding dream lights swirled into a calming vortex, drawing away all anticipatory stress. Then came the lighter, everyday worries, a forgotten task, a minor interaction, a small disappointment. These were met with an almost playful gentleness, like bubbles popping silently on the surface of calm water. They simply ceased to matter, their significance diminishing to nothing in the face of such profound tranquility. The essence of the river spirit replaced these fleeting concerns with a pervasive sense of lightheartedness and ease, reminding me that many worries are but shadows that dissolve in the light of true peace. The process of unraveling worries was accompanied by an extraordinary lightness, as if layers of accumulated burdens were being lifted, one by one. My dream self felt increasingly unencumbered, buoyant, almost weightless. It was a sensation of returning to a natural state of being, a state of pure, unadulterated peace that had always been there, simply obscured by the noise and demands of the waking world. The Spirit's presence remained constant, a benevolent anchor throughout this gentle cleansing. It wasn't actively doing anything, but rather being, and through its pure, calming existence, it drew out and dissolved all that was not peaceful. This quiet, effortless process demonstrated a profound wisdom, understanding that true peace arises not from conquering anxieties, but from simply allowing them to dissolve in the presence of overwhelming calm. As the last vestiges of worry faded, replaced by an exquisite sense of calm, the dreamscape around me settled into an even deeper tranquility. The lights became steadier, glowing with a constant, gentle warmth. The river's hum became a continuous, resonant chord of pure serenity. I was no longer just floating. I was basking, immersed in a boundless ocean of peace, my being cleansed and purified. The river spirit had not only guided me into timeless streams, but had also gifted me a profound clarity, an inner quietude that felt both ancient and newly discovered. I was becoming one with the peace of the river, utterly unburdened and deeply, profoundly at rest.
Within the deepening embrace of the dream, the very concept of time began to unravel, losing all meaning. There were no ticking clocks, no passing minutes, no sense of hours or days. Only a continuous, boundless present moment, an eternal now, where every sensation, every feeling, every gentle flicker of light existed in perfect, unhurried perpetuity. This was the true essence of the timeless dreams granted by the river spirits. The gentle, liquid expanse that held me felt infinite, stretching out in all directions without beginning or end. The soft, internal lights around me no longer seemed to pulse in a rhythmic pattern, but rather glowed with a constant, unwavering brilliance, like fixed stars in a serene, dark sky. Their light was perpetual, unchanging, reflecting the absolute stillness of time. The melodic hum of the river, once a distinct melody, had now become an omnipresent vibration, a single sustained note of pure, resonant peace. It was a sound that filled the entire dream space, a low, continuous frequency that harmonized with the very fabric of timelessness. This sound was not something that began or ended. It simply was, an eternal resonance that held everything within its calming embrace. Without the structure of time, all urgency vanished. There was no past to regret, no future to anticipate, only the exquisite unfolding present. My dream self felt completely unbound, floating freely in this limitless expanse of calm. Memories from my waking life, which might occasionally resurface in ordinary dreams, were completely absent here. They had no place in this timeless realm where the past held no dominion. The glimpses of serene moments from other lives which had appeared before now felt less like distinct events and more like facets of a singular, continuous diamond of peace. They were always there, simultaneously, existing in a grand, harmonious tableau. A quiet garden, a sun-dappled forest, a still lake, all coexisted in a sprawling landscape of timeless tranquility, accessible simply by the gentle shift of awareness. My breath became so subtle it was almost imperceptible, a quiet ebb and flow that matched the gentle, unhurried pulse of the dream itself. My heartbeat, too, slowed to a steady, profound rhythm, a deep, resonant throb that echoed the timeless hum of the river. Every biological function seemed to align with the profound stillness of this realm, moving at a pace dictated by eternity, not minutes. The river spirit, a silent, benevolent presence, seemed to expand, becoming less a distinct entity and more the very essence of timelessness itself. Its gentle touch was everywhere, in the unwavering light, in the continuous hum, in the boundless space.
It was the orchestrator of this temporal dissolution, guiding me into a state where true rest, unhurried and infinite, could finally take hold. Within this timelessness, a profound sense of healing began. Without the constant pressure of what's next or what was, my entire being could simply be. Every cell, every fiber, every subtle energy within me seemed to relax into a state of optimal repair and rejuvenation. It was a deep, fundamental restoration that could only occur when the constraints of time were completely lifted. I felt myself sinking deeper into the dream, not downwards, but inwards, into an ever-expanding center of stillness. The experience was of utter peace, boundless freedom, and complete surrender. The understanding that time was merely a construct of the waking world, and that true serenity existed outside its confines, was a powerful, liberating realization. I was fully immersed in the river's gift of timeless dreams, adrift in an ocean of eternal calm, utterly and profoundly at rest. The dream deepened further, transforming into a journey through a vast tapestry woven from universal peaceful memories. It was no longer just glimpses of serene moments, but a continuous, flowing narrative composed entirely of tranquility, unburdened by any personal history or emotional charge. I was a silent voyager, propelled by the gentle currents of the dream through an endless landscape of profound calm. One part of the journey led me to a high, secluded mountain peak, bathed in the soft first light of dawn. The air was crisp and pure, carrying the faint scent of distant pine. Below, a sea of cloud stretched to the horizon, tinted in delicate shades of rose and gold, perfectly still. There was no sound, save for the gentle, rhythmic hum that was the essence of the river spirit, resonating in the silent vastness. The feeling here was one of immense quietude, of boundless possibility, a profound sense of starting anew with a clear and rested mind. As the scene softly shifted, I found myself drifting through an ancient library, not a dusty, silent place, but one filled with a warm, ambient glow. The shelves stretched endlessly upwards, lined with countless books, their spines radiating a soft golden light. The air smelled of old paper and subtle wisdom. The only sound was the gentle rustle of turning pages, a soft, rhythmic whisper that spoke of endless knowledge and quiet discovery. It was a place of profound intellectual peace, where learning was effortless and curiosity was gently satisfied. The feeling was of boundless calm, as if every question found a soft, comforting answer. Then the journey continued to a tranquil hidden cove, where the sand was impossibly white and soft, and the water was a clear, gentle turquoise. Small, smooth pebbles, polished by centuries of gentle waves, lay scattered at the water's edge. The sound of the waves was a soft, rhythmic hush, pulling back and forth with an infinite patience. The sun was warm on my dream skin, a comforting embrace without any intensity. There was no wind, only the gentle sway of unseen seaweed beneath the surface. This place offered a deep, primal peace, the simple contentment of existing in harmony with the natural world, feeling utterly unburdened. Each scene flowed seamlessly into the next, guided by the unseen hand of the river spirit. I felt no need to engage, no impulse to interact. My role was simply to absorb, to let the profound peace of each memory wash over me, cleansing and restoring. The soft internal lights of the dream pulsed gently, highlighting the essence of tranquility in each new landscape, drawing my awareness to the subtle details that evoked the deepest calm. I drifted through a quiet, blooming garden after a soft rain, where every leaf glittered with dew, and the air was alive with the sweet, fresh scent of earth and blossoms. The gentle drip of water from leaves was the only sound, a soothing rhythm that deepened the sense of freshness and renewal. The colors were impossibly vibrant, yet soft, a symphony of green and delicate pastels. This memory evoked a profound sense of natural beauty and quiet rejuvenation. The journey was timeless, without duration, each peaceful moment blending into the next. It was an experience of pure serenity, a distillation of all the world's tranquil moments gathered and presented for my complete restoration. My dream self felt increasingly light, profoundly soothed, absorbing the essence of peace with every gentle shift in the dreamscape. The river spirit was guiding me through a landscape of universal calm, allowing me to draw from an endless wellspring of peace, preparing me for a complete and total rest. I was simply drifting endlessly through the comforting beauty of shared tranquility.
In the deepening quietude of the dream, as the tapestry of gentle memories continued to unfold, the benevolent presence I had felt earlier became more defined, not in form, but in its profound clarity and purpose. It was the river spirit, revealing itself as the silent, ancient guardian of restful sleep and timeless dreams. This wasn't a grand unveiling, but a gentle, intuitive knowing that settled softly into my dream consciousness. The realization brought with it an overwhelming sense of reassurance and safety. There was no surprise, no fear, only a profound feeling of being truly cared for, watched over by a wise and ancient entity. The spirit's presence felt like an immense, calm pool of energy, surrounding and permeating the entire dreamscape. Its touch, still intangible, was everywhere, in the quality of the light, the softness of the sounds, the profound sense of peace. The soft internal lights that had danced around me throughout the dream now seemed to emanate directly from this pervasive presence. They pulsed with a steady, unwavering glow, no longer just random flickers, but deliberate expressions of the spirit's quiet power. Their hues deepened into a magnificent spectrum of soothing blues, greens, and silvers, swirling together in a harmonious dance that reflected the spirit's ancient wisdom. The continuous melodic hum of the river became more resonant, more profound, clearly the very voice of the guardian spirit itself. It was a sound that didn't vibrate in the air, but deep within my core,
a resonant frequency that perfectly aligned with my own restful state. This hum was a continuous lullaby, a silent promise that within this realm only peace and profound rest would exist, undisturbed by any external discord. I understood, without words, that the Spirit had always been here, flowing beneath the surface of the world, quietly nurturing the spaces where dreams could flourish untroubled. It was the source of the hidden stream, the essence of the ancient willow, the very fabric of this peaceful glade. Its purpose was to collect the purest moments of tranquility from all existence and weave them into a sanctuary of dreams for those who sought true rest. The Spirit communicated not through thoughts or images, but through an overwhelming influx of feeling, boundless compassion, infinite patience, and an unwavering commitment to profound serenity. It was a presence that understood the exhaustion of the waking world and offered an absolute antidote in the form of timeless, unburdened slumber. There was no demand, no expectation, only an offering of purest peace. As the guardian of slumber, the Spirit seemed to gently smooth out any lingering ripples in the dreamscape, ensuring that every facet of the experience contributed to deeper rest. The universal peaceful memories continued to unfold, but now they felt imbued with even greater sense of purpose, curated by this benevolent entity to maximize their soothing effect. Each scene was a perfect note in a symphony of peace, carefully placed for my complete restoration. My dream self felt incredibly open, receptive to the profound healing offered by the Spirit. All defenses, all subconscious tensions simply melted away in its pervasive presence. I was completely vulnerable, yet completely safe, entrusted to an entity whose sole purpose was to ensure the most profound and restorative sleep possible. This realization brought an even deeper sense of relaxation, a complete surrender to the forces of peace. The river spirit, as the silent guardian, was now guiding me, not just through dreams, but into the very heart of undisturbed slumber, ensuring that my journey would continue to be one of pure, unblemished tranquility. I was drifting deeper, ever deeper, into the luminous essence of timeless rest, held securely within the embrace of the ancient, benevolent guardian of dreams. From the benevolent presence of the river spirit, a series of profound gifts began to emerge within the dream: tranquility, clarity, and deep peace. These were intangible objects, but profound states of being, seamlessly woven into the fabric of the dreamscape and gently absorbed by my dream self. Each gift flowed effortlessly from the Spirit, a silent offering intended for complete restoration. The first gift was an absolute and pervasive tranquility. It settled over me like a warm, enveloping blanket, dissolving any last lingering vestiges of mental agitation. My mind, which had already quieted considerably, now became a vast, still lake, its surface perfectly reflective, unmarred by even the slightest ripple. This wasn't merely the absence of disturbance, but an active, vibrant state of inner calm, a deep wellspring of quietude from which I could draw. The soft internal lights of the dream seemed to dim slightly in deference, their glow becoming a subtle, unwavering hum, a visual representation of profound stillness. Following this, the gift of clarity unfolded. It wasn't the sharp, analytical clarity of the waking mind, but a gentle, intuitive understanding. It felt as though layers of mental fog were being softly lifted, revealing not answers to specific problems, but a serene perspective on life's complexities. Worries that had once seemed insurmountable now appeared as distant, small hills, easily navigated. This clarity brought with it a profound sense of inner wisdom, a quiet knowing that all was well, and that solutions would emerge in their own time, without struggle. The melodic hum of the river spirit deepened, becoming a resonant chord that seemed to align every aspect of my inner being, bringing a perfect harmonious balance. Finally, and most profoundly, came the gift of deep peace. This was more than just the absence of conflict. It was an all-encompassing state of complete harmony, a profound reconciliation with all aspects of existence. It permeated every cell of my dream body, every fiber of my dream being, settling into the very core of my soul. This peace was ancient and enduring, a fundamental truth of the universe, and the river spirit was allowing me to experience its pure, unadulterated essence. It felt like coming home to a state I had always yearned for, a sense of belonging so complete that all yearning ceased. As these gifts unfolded, the liquid embrace of the dream world intensified, becoming even more nurturing and supportive. The feeling was akin to being completely submerged in liquid light, weightless and utterly cherished. The subtle currents that had guided me now felt like gentle hands, softly pressing the gifts deeper into my consciousness, ensuring their complete absorption. There was no resistance, only a profound willingness to receive these precious offerings. The universal peaceful memories which had been the backdrop to my journey now seemed to merge with these gifts. A memory of a silent, snow-covered landscape was infused with an even deeper tranquility. A vision of a sun-warmed cat curled in peaceful slumber radiated an enhanced sense of deep peace. The clarity allowed me to perceive the inherent peace in every scene, revealing the quiet grace that underlies all existence. The river spirit's presence, though still silent and unseen in any distinct form, felt profoundly loving and benevolent. It was the source, the wellspring from which these gifts flowed endlessly. Its essence was pure tranquility, and it generously shared this with me, not as something fleeting, but as something to be integrated into my very being, carried back into wakefulness. My dream self felt profoundly transformed, lighter, clearer, infinitely more peaceful. The burdens of the waking world seemed to shrink to insignificance, replaced by an inner reservoir of calm that felt inexhaustible. I was not just resting, I was being profoundly renewed, restored to a state of equilibrium and serenity that felt utterly natural and right. The gifts from the river spirit were not just for this dream, but for the life beyond it, a promise of enduring peace. I was drifting deeper into the heart of timeless dreams, enveloped by these precious offerings, utterly and completely at rest.
A profound understanding began to settle within the deep peace of the dream. The realization that the stream's essence was intrinsically connected to a profound, ancient peace, a source that transcended its physical manifestation. It was more than just water flowing over stones. It was a living conduit to a primordial wellspring of tranquility, a place where peace had always existed, untouched by the passage of time or the turmoil of the world. This understanding wasn't a thought or a logical deduction, but an intuitive knowing that permeated every aspect of my dream self. It felt like remembering something deeply ancient, a truth etched into the very fabric of existence. The stream was a vein, a silver thread connecting the visible world to an invisible reservoir of universal calm, and the river spirit was its gentle guardian and conduit. The liquid embrace that held me seemed to deepen, becoming even more resonant with this ancient peace. I felt myself sinking into it, not downwards, but inwards, into the very core of its timeless essence. The soft, internal lights that surrounded me now glowed with an unwavering, eternal brilliance, like the steady pulse of the ancient earth itself. Their light was not created, but simply was, radiating an inherent tranquility that filled the boundless expanse of the dream. The continuous melodic hum of the river transformed into the very sound of this ancient peace, a deep, resonant vibration that echoed through every cell of my dream being. It was the sound of primordial stillness, the sound of creation resting, of equilibrium perfectly balanced. This was the fundamental frequency of peace, an unending note that harmonized with the universe. It permeated everything, soothing and sustaining. I understood that the stream wasn't merely reflecting peace, it was actively generating it, drawing it from the deep, quiet places of the earth and weaving it into the dreams of those who sought solace. Every ripple, every glint of light, every soft murmur was a manifestation of this profound, ancient calm. It was a constant, benevolent offering to the world, a hidden sanctuary for weary souls. The experience of the universal peaceful memories became even richer with this understanding. They were not just isolated moments, but expressions of this singular, ancient peace refracted through countless different forms and lives. The serenity of the mountain peak, the quiet wisdom of the library, the primal calm of the ocean cove, all were facets of the same foundational tranquility emanating from this deep, hidden source. The river spirit, whose presence I continued to feel as a gentle guiding energy, seemed to merge with this ancient peace, becoming indistinguishable from it. It was not just a guardian, but an embodiment of this timeless tranquility, flowing endlessly, patiently. Its benevolence was absolute, its purpose to share this profound peace with all who were open to receive it. This realization brought with it an overwhelming sense of hope and reassurance. Even in the midst of a world often filled with chaos and noise, there existed this deep, unwavering wellspring of peace, accessible and eternal.
The stream and its guardian spirit were silent testaments to this truth, offering a path to restoration and profound rest. My dream self felt profoundly connected to this ancient source, as if my own being was drinking from its limitless depths. All lingering anxieties, all residual tensions dissolved completely, replaced by an absolute surrender to this pervasive, foundational peace. I was immersed, cleansed, and nourished by the very essence of tranquility, drifting deeper and deeper into the timeless embrace of the river's profound and ancient slumber. A subtle, gradual shift began to occur in the dream, a gentle lightening that signaled a slow, unhurried awakening. It wasn't an abrupt jolt back to reality, but a tender unfolding, like a flower slowly opening its petals to the morning sun. I felt a profound sense of having been utterly, completely rested, a renewal that went far beyond mere physical sleep. My dream self felt buoyant, clear, and imbued with a quiet, vibrant energy. The liquid embrace of the dream, which had held me so securely, began to softly recede, not vanishing, but becoming less distinct, more diffuse. The sensation was akin to the tide gently pulling back from a shore, leaving behind a profound sense of tranquility. The boundless expanse of the dream seemed to gently contract, focusing my awareness back towards the quiet space under the ancient willow. The soft, internal lights that had illuminated the timeless dream now began to shimmer with a slightly more distinct quality. Still gentle, but with a subtle upward movement. They seemed to rise, like tiny luminous bubbles, gently lifting my consciousness closer to the surface of wakefulness. Their glow, though still ethereal, held a hint of the soft dawn light that would soon grace the physical world. The deep, resonant thum of the river, which had been the very sound of ancient peace, now softened, becoming the gentle, rhythmic murmur I had heard when first approaching the stream. It was a consistent, soothing sound that acted as a silent anchor, gently drawing me back without any jarring interruption. This sound was a promise, a soft assurance that the peace cultivated within the dream would linger. My body, which had felt ethereal and unbound in the dream, slowly began to regain its sense of physical form. The moss beneath me, once an indistinguishable part of the dream's embrace, now felt distinctly soft and cool against my skin. The gentle warmth radiating from the ancient willow tree became palpable once more, a comforting, grounding presence as I slowly resurfaced. There was no sense of disorientation, no grogginess, merely a clear, tranquil transition. My mind felt exceptionally clear, unclouded by the usual morning fogginess or the lingering anxieties that often accompany waking. Instead, it was filled with an exquisite sense of mental spaciousness, a quiet alertness. Every thought that began to form was soft, unhurried, imbued with the deep calm of the dream. A subtle breath stirred the leaves of the willow overhead, a soft whisper that felt like a gentle greeting from the waking world. The air, though still cool and fresh, held a faint hint of dawn, a promise of light that was approaching slowly but surely. I felt the subtle shift in temperature, the gentle transition from the profound stillness of the dream to the quiet stirrings of the early morning. My senses began to slowly reawaken, each one returning with a renewed sensitivity, yet without any harshness. The faint scent of damp earth and pine was sharper, more immediate, but still deeply comforting. The distant, almost imperceptible sounds of the forest, the soft rustle of an unseen creature, the faint chirp of a waking bird, were gentle invitations, not disturbances. The feeling of being profoundly rested and renewed permeated every fiber of my being. It wasn't just a physical restoration, but a deep spiritual rejuvenation. The gifts of tranquility, clarity, and deep peace from the river spirit felt integrated within me, not as fleeting dream sensations, but as newly discovered states of being that I could carry back into my waking life. I was stirring, slowly and gently, from the most profound slumber imaginable, ready to greet the day with a newfound sense of quiet vitality.
Upon awakening, a soft, dream-like mist still hung in the air around the stream, a palpable veil separating this sacred glade from the more mundane world beyond. It wasn't a dense fog, but a translucent, shimmering haze, catching the faint, nascent light of the approaching dawn and diffusing it into a pearlescent glow. This lingering mist felt like a gentle echo of the dream, a visible manifestation of the timeless tranquility I had just experienced. The air within this mist was cool and incredibly fresh, carrying the intensified scent of clean, flowing water and damp, ancient earth. It was a perfume of profound renewal, crisp and invigorating, yet utterly soft and unhurried. Each breath I took felt cleansing, drawing the essence of the stream's purity deep into my lungs, revitalizing every cell. The soft internal lights that had guided me through the dream were no longer pulsating within the stream itself, but seemed to have infused the mist. They shimmered within its ethereal tendrils, creating delicate, luminous patterns that swirled slowly around the ancient willow and over the surface of the water. They were like the lingering memories of stars, slowly fading as the dawn approached, yet still present, still radiating a subtle, comforting glow. The sound of the stream was now clearer, the gentle murmur distinct, yet still imbued with the melodic quality I had perceived in the dream. It was a continuous, rhythmic hush that seemed to hold the silence of the glade in its embrace. The sound was comforting, a gentle reminder of the profound source of peace from which I had just emerged. It was the whisper of the river spirit, a soft reassurance that its presence lingered. As I slowly stirred, stretching my limbs on the soft moss, I felt an extraordinary lightness in my body. All stiffness, all tension had completely vanished. My muscles felt pliable and deeply relaxed, as if they had undergone a profound healing. It was a physical sensation of being completely recalibrated. Every fiber returned to a state of perfect balance and ease. My mind, still steeped in the afterglow of the timeless dreams, was remarkably clear and calm.
There was no rush of daily thoughts, no immediate demands pressing in. Instead, a spaciousness resided within, a quiet, open expanse where thoughts could gently form and dissolve without clinging or causing agitation. It was the gift of clarity, enduring beyond the dream itself, a testament to the Spirit's influence. The gentle closing of the dream had left no sense of loss or longing, but rather a profound appreciation for the serenity it had offered. The mist seemed to embody this continuation of peace, a soft bridge between the dream world and the waking world, allowing the tranquility to seamlessly flow from one into the other. It was a tangible reminder that the peace was not confined to sleep, but could linger if allowed. As I slowly opened my eyes, the world revealed itself through the shimmering veil of mist, softly muted, exquisitely gentle. The edges of the trees were softened, the colors of the forest floor a little more ethereal. Everything seemed touched by the magic of the stream, imbued with a quiet, otherworldly beauty. This was not just a forest glade, it was still a sanctuary, its boundaries softened by the lingering embrace of timeless dreams. The mist was fading, but its essence of peace felt indelibly imprinted upon the air, a final, tender blessing from the river spirit. I breathed it in deeply, allowing its calm to settle permanently within me.
The deep sense of calm and the echoes of the timeless dreams remained, not as fleeting memories, but as a profound inner resonance, a new state of being that had settled within me. It felt like a fundamental recalibration, a quiet, pervasive peace that had replaced the subtle undercurrents of stress and hurriedness that often characterize waking life. This calm was not a temporary respite. It was a deeply ingrained feeling, as if the very essence of the river's tranquility had fused with my own. As the last tendrils of mist dissolved with the gentle strengthening of dawn, the forest began to emerge in clearer detail. The leaves on the ancient willow shimmered with dew, reflecting the pale, nascent light. The pebbles in the stream bed, visible through the crystal-clear water, seemed to glow with a faint residual luminescence, echoes of the internal lights that had danced in my dreams. Every detail of the glade felt imbued with a quiet magic, a sacred quality that lingered from the night's profound experience. My breath continued to be deep and even, a gentle rhythm that seemed to carry the quietude of the stream within it. My heartbeat was steady and unhurried, a calm drum that resonated with the peaceful pulse of the earth. There was no internal chatter, no frantic thoughts vying for attention. Instead, my mind was a vast, open expanse, remarkably clear and unburdened, a testament to the clarity gifted by the river spirit. The subtle sounds of the waking forest began to filter in, no longer muffled by mist, but still incredibly soft. A distant bird's first tentative song, a gentle rustle of leaves as a small creature stirred, the soft sigh of a breeze through the pines. Each sound was an invitation to appreciate the quiet beauty of the morning rather than a disruption. They were woven into the lingering peace, becoming part of its tapestry. I slowly rose from the mossy hollow beneath the willow, feeling an unexpected lightness in my limbs. Every movement felt effortless, fluid, as if my body had been perfectly oiled and balanced. The profound physical rest had revitalized me in a way that hours of ordinary sleep never could. There was no stiffness, no aches, only a pervasive feeling of well-being and supple strength. The emotional landscape within me was equally transformed. The small anxieties that had often clung to me like burrs were gone, completely dissolved. In their place was a quiet, unshakable optimism, a gentle belief in the inherent goodness of the moment. The worries about the future, the regrets of the past, held no sway. There was only the present, infused with a deep sense of contentment. This lingering peace felt like a shield, a soft, protective aura that would accompany me as I stepped back into the world. It was a reminder that true tranquility wasn't an external condition, but an internal state, cultivated and nourished in the deep, quiet places of the soul. The river spirit's gifts were not just for the dream, but for the ongoing journey of life, providing a wellspring of calm to draw upon. I took a final deep breath, inhaling the pure, clean air, letting the essence of the glade settle even deeper within me. The echoes of the timeless dreams were not fading, they were integrating, becoming a fundamental part of my renewed self. The stream, shimmering softly in the growing light, felt like a silent promise, a permanent fixture in the landscape of my inner world, a constant source of profound and enduring calm. I carried its peace like a precious, invisible jewel as I prepared to slowly and gently make my way back from this sacred place. The promise of return lingered in the air, a quiet knowing that the stream would always be there, a steadfast doorway to peaceful slumber whenever the world grew too loud or the spirit too weary. It wasn't a desire for escape, but a deep, comforting assurance that this sanctuary of timeless dreams was a permanent fixture in the hidden landscape of existence, waiting patiently. As the morning light strengthened, painting the glade in richer hues of green and gold, I took one last lingering look at the ancient willow, its branches still gracefully dipping into the luminous water. The stream flowed with the same gentle murmur, a constant soothing song that seemed to whisper of enduring peace. The air, though now clear of mist, still felt imbued with the soft, ethereal energy of the river spirit, a subtle blessing that touched everything. I began to walk away, slowly, deliberately, not eager to leave, but accepting the natural unfolding of the morning. Each step felt light and unburdened, my body moving with an effortless grace. The profound rest had not only rejuvenated me, but had also reconnected me to a quieter, more instinctive way of moving through the world. There was no rush, no urgency, only a gentle forward motion, perfectly aligned with the serene rhythm of the forest. The sounds of the forest grew a little clearer with each step, the rustle of leaves beneath my feet, the distant chirping of birds, the gentle hum of waking insects, but they did not disturb the inner quiet. Instead, they became part of a larger symphony of peace, each sound contributing to a sense of living harmony.
My senses were sharpened, yet softened, allowing me to perceive the world with a heightened appreciation for its subtle beauties. The path, once indistinct, now seemed to gently reveal itself, guiding me with an almost invisible hand through the trees. It was as if the forest itself was accompanying me, its ancient wisdom imprinted upon the very ground. I carried the silence of the stream within me, a profound quietude that shielded me from any potential clamor or distraction, allowing me to move with deliberate grace. The feeling of the river spirit's presence lingered like a soft, comforting warmth in my chest. It wasn't a distinct entity any longer, but an integrated part of my own refreshed being, a quiet knowing that profound peace was always accessible, within and without. The gifts of tranquility, clarity, and deep peace felt firmly embedded, not as fleeting memories, but as foundational elements of my renewed self, ready to be drawn upon whenever needed. I knew that the chaotic energy of the outside world might at times try to obscure this inner peace, but it would never extinguish it. The memory of the stream, its luminous waters, and the gentle guidance of its spirit would serve as an anchor, a quiet reminder of the deep wellspring of calm that had been awakened within me. I could always return, either in my thoughts or, when the need was truly great, by seeking out the hidden glade once more. The understanding was profound. The key to timeless dreams was not just held by the river spirits, but offered as a gift, one that could be rediscovered and re-entered whenever the gentle pull of true rest called. I felt truly, deeply, and profoundly at peace. The light of dawn now gently illuminates the quiet glade, filtering softly through the ancient willow's branches, painting the smooth stones of the streambed with soft, pale golds. The water continues its endless, gentle murmur, a hushed whisper that now feels less like sound and more like the very breath of peace itself. My own breathing has settled into this quiet rhythm, deep and slow, each inhale a gentle sigh, each exhale a soft release. The blanket, which felt so comforting just moments ago, now feels like a warm cloud, weightless and infinitely soft against my skin. The soft glow of the room has faded to an almost imperceptible warmth, inviting the deepest, most undisturbed slumber. Every muscle in your body is completely relaxed, sinking effortlessly into the mattress, becoming one with the comforting support beneath you. Your eyelids feel heavy, weighted by the profound tranquility that has settled within every fiber of your being. Thoughts, if they even dare to stir, are like tiny, insignificant ripples on a vast, still lake, quickly dissolving into the boundless calm. The world outside has softened, its edges blurred, its sounds distant and muffled, cradled within the profound quiet of this deep night. You are utterly safe, completely protected, and deeply, irrevocably at peace. The gentle essence of the river and its timeless dreams wraps around you, a tender embrace that carries you further into the quietude where only undisturbed rest resides. Let yourself drift completely and without effort into the soft, comforting darkness, sinking deeper, ever deeper, into the sweetest, most profound slumber.